welcome to my channel. So just a little bit about myself. My name is Takara. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I've been a healthcare professional for over 17 years. A decade of that was in hospital management, senior management. I'm also a travel agent for the past 5 years. I run my own business called Queen of Quest, and I'm a newly licensed real estate agent. So in this channel, I basically focus on entrepreneurship, how to balance your career, work life, how to travel, and get into real estate. I have tips all around. I'm new to YouTube, but not new to life. Like and subscribe so you can say you're one of the first ones to join my journey. In this video, I'm focusing on traveling solo safely. It's something I do often. It's something that I have invested a lot of time into and getting the ins and outs and different tips that'll make a better experience for those traveling solo. So in this video, you'll basically come across tips that you should take into consideration before you plan your trip, during your trip, and after your trip in order to make it as safe as possible. I also developed a free, absolutely free mini app that is basically a guide to traveling solo, and it'll have different steps inside, including registering for the STEPS program. That's something that we'll discuss as well. If you'd like a link to that app, just comment below and I'll send you the link. Solo travel is not about being fearless. It's about being prepared. Anyone can travel solo with the right system. I travel solo pretty often as a woman today, and I'm sharing today how I stay confident, stress-free, and safe. First, we're going to talk about traveling solo and why it's worth it. I personally believe that traveling solo is something that'll boost your confidence 100%. You tend to get a mindset that you can take on the world. If you can get from A to B and just do it all alone and by yourself, and you're able to just explore on your own, you just this bigger sense of self-identity that you can't get anywhere else, in my opinion. Safety shouldn't be an issue when it comes to planning a solo trip. And also, people that can't travel shouldn't be an issue as well. The point is, you don't need a travel partner to travel the world. You just need a plan. So the first step in traveling solo will always be your mindset. Your mindset should be something that you prepare beforehand. Before you even start pre-packing, pre-planning for the trip, you have to get your mindset into a solo travel state. Meaning, you have to know that you trust your intuitions. You have to make sure that if you feel something, you'll go with it. You also have to make sure you do not overshare details. This is online and in person. You can give trusted individuals details that you want to share, of course. You tend not to realize how many people is gathering information about you. You may be speaking in jest, and you can't trust everybody. So do not overshare details, and especially online where you barely know who's watching. You just have to be careful in that realm. You also have to put in your mindset that when you get there, you're going to move with intention, not fear. You're going to make sure I know where I'm getting. This is where I'm going from A, I'm going from B. This is my plan from start to finish. You don't go out there and say, oh, what should I do now, and try to prepare while you're feeling a little anxious. All that should be done beforehand as part of your mindset. And you're also going to put in your mind that when I get there, I'm not going to move like a tourist. I'm going to act like I fit in. So all the pre-planning you do beforehand is going to get you ready for this mindset. You act like you belong. You don't want to move around in fear or stick out like a sore thumb, because in certain situations, that's where the wrong locals look for. Those that look like they not sure where they're going or not sure where they're meant to be. So booking accommodations wisely is very, very important. Some people like to just look at the aesthetics of a place and say, oh, I like the way this look, I'm going to book here. And they don't really research the neighborhood or how long it's going to take to get them from A to B. Like, they have a whole agenda and they don't really look into how long it's going to take them to get to their agenda from the place that they're staying at. So you have to research the whole go round. I go into Google Maps, I put in exactly where I'm going to stay and where I want to go, and I see from here, like before I even go on the trip, how long it's going to take. I even look in Uber sometimes to see how much they're charged. You can do all that from home. You don't have to be in the exact vicinity to do those things. So those are things I do beforehand to actually see how long this is going to take, and there's things close to the proximity of where I want to go. So choosing your accommodation wisely is very important. So don't always think about aesthetics and things like that. Also think about location and how far you have to walk or drive, or how far you are from different places. That's important. When I'm planning a trip for my clients, I don't just search the hotel. I search the entire neighborhood. I like to see what's next door, what's next to it. Can they walk to certain places? Or also when I'm traveling alone myself, can I walk to certain places? Is stuff Like, what do I have to do in the neighborhood? What's around? I researched the entire neighborhood that I will be staying in, not just the hotel. So that's something you should do beforehand. If you plan to travel alone, especially, I think you should do it at any trip, but if you plan to travel alone, you want to know every move you have to make to eat, to do anything. So you want to know what's around and where you're going and how long it's going to take to get there and things like that. Reviews is your best friend. And I say that with a grain of salt because sometimes you can't take reviews as the end all be all because everybody has different standards. You have to look at the reviews based on your own standards. So let's say you're looking at a review and someone says, I didn't like that the water was warm or things like that. It may be something that you may not care too much about and they gave a 1 star. So when you see like 1 stars and stuff or 5 stars, you want to make sure you're reading the actual content of the review to see if it's something that triggers you or something that makes you happy, because everybody has different criteria when it comes to making them happy in a hotel. Booking hotel transfers from the airport is extremely important beforehand as well, because a lot of scammers are at the airport. And this is very, very important with international travel. You should always book your airport transfers beforehand. You should also know who that person is or who that company is that you are going to see when you get to the airport. There's some people that are standing around and their goal is to actually get people from the airport and try to charge them more, overcharge them, or act like they didn't ride and lead them somewhere else. You have to be very responsible to know who you booked and to book beforehand, else you are pretty much putting yourself in a situation where you can get scammed or worse. So just make sure that's booked beforehand. And whoever you book should be a trusted transportation person, a trusted transportation company. You should research that company as well and make sure they have good reviews and it's a trusted source. Like I said, when I book my packages for my clients, I have a certain company I use 100% and they have never steered me wrong. And they also wear bright colors, so I'm able to direct my clients. Make sure you look for this color shirt in this company and don't talk to anybody else while you're walking out there. And in these transportations, this is going back to the oversharing. Even when you get to the country and you're driving alone, wherever you at, you shouldn't always say you're staying alone. Always say that you're meeting somebody there. You took a different flight. You're going to meet a group now. You're meeting your husband. Your husband had to work. He's coming an hour later. Don't say you're staying alone, even to the driver that you trust. Because you don't know who he shares that with that may be listening. And I don't even tell, if possible, the hotel people that I'm staying alone. I always say, oh, my friend is already here, or I don't trust anybody to know. They may know I'm in a room alone, but they don't have to know that I'm on the premises alone. That's something I keep to myself at all times. Location sharing. Let's talk about it. On a trip, I always share my location with at least one trusted person. It gives a peace of mind for you and probably the person that you're sharing it with. You can use iPhone location sharing or Google Maps location sharing. And you don't need to share your location with everybody, just someone that you trust. Other apps I always suggest you download as well are the ride sharing apps, whatever's local in their city. You can research that ahead of time. Sometimes it's not Uber and Lyft. Sometimes it's another ride share company, but I make sure I download that app. Your airline and hotel app, those apps always come in handy because apps tend to work better than it or faster than the internet when needed. Google Translate, you can never go wrong with that if you're traveling to a foreign country, or even in general, sometimes you just come across people that don't speak your language. Google Translate is always a good app to have. Now, this is where we talk a little more about your accommodations. And this is not to Airbnb bash. This is just a suggestion of my own. I tend to tell my clients that, especially out of the country, Airbnbs is probably one of the least safe situations you could put yourself in, only because it's literally owned by a person. You're staying in a stranger's home. If you have a trusted person that uses Airbnb, maybe a family recommendation or something of that sort, I am not against it. But if you're going to stay in a stranger's home, I am very, very more supportive of resorts in this situation. I've seen so many situations where people are waking up and strangers are in their house, in the house that they're rented, or they left and their bags was robbed, or they found cameras in the home. And I'm not saying that things don't happen on resorts, but it's least likely that you will wake up to a stranger standing over you, or you will find a camera or things of that nature in a resort. You also have more people around, 24-hour security. It's just, a lot less likely that things of those natures will happen if you stay in a resort. Especially as a solo traveler, I 100% recommend that you stay in a resort or a hotel of some sort with security, or that if you need help, you're able to get it. So there's also a STEP program, and I actually use this when I'm traveling alone or when I'm traveling with a group. The STEP program is the Smart Traveler Enrollment Program. The mini app that I created, that's free, will have that link as well for you to register directly from the mini app. It's a free service offered by the U.S. Department of State to get emergency alerts, safety updates, and help from the U.S. embassies and consulates. So you pretty much just register your trip, and the embassy knows where you are, allowing them to contact you during certain situations and natural disasters. Sharing your itinerary with a trusted person is always important as well, because we don't want anything to happen to you, but if something does happen, or you can't communicate with somebody, because say you lost your phone, or someone's looking for you, or you're in a situation where you need help, someone should know all the details of your trip. They should know where you're staying at, the flight you're going on, and everything surrounding your trip. So you should always share those details with someone. And like I mentioned earlier, I created a free mini app where you can actually input these details and then copy it and share it to someone that you trust. Like I said, if you would like that, hit that subscribe button, comment below, and I'll send you that. We are going to discuss now certain tech things that can help you stay safe as well. First, I want to discuss offline maps. Some people don't know this, but offline maps is a great thing to have and as a backup situation. Let's say you get somewhere and your phone doesn't have service and you didn't know, and you're trying to navigate how to get to a place, and now you can't because your phone doesn't have service. With offline maps, and this is something you do before you go on a trip, you can actually go to Google Maps and locate the place that you want to visit, that you're going to, or the map that you want, and download this as an offline map, meaning that if you come and you don't have service, you still have access to this map. And what you can do is still get directions to the place that you're trying to find and things of that nature. I think the only thing you can get is like live updates as far as traffic and things like that when it's an offline map. But you can still get directions to certain situations or places that you have in your trip already. So I think offline maps is a great thing to have as a backup plan. You want to always bring a portable charger with you. If your phone dies in a situation, you always want to be able to back that up and charge it as fast as possible. Portable chargers are non-negotiable. Portable charger tips: always have one that at least charges your phone fully at least once. Keep the portable charger itself charged before leaving your hotel or wherever you're going. And always make sure you carry it when you have those long days out. You don't want your phone to die in any situation. A dead phone is so much more stressful than people realize. Now let's discuss a few common mistakes that's made when you're planning to travel solo. The first one is over planning. We tend to try to over plan every single second of the trip, and it can be overwhelming. Another mistake is ignoring your intuition. Like we mentioned earlier, intuition is one of the best things you have, especially on a trip like this. If you feel like, oh, this ride seems a little sketchy, this place doesn't really fit right with me, go with it. Do not ignore your intuition ever when it comes to traveling solo. This one may be a little, but being too polite can give off the wrong impression in certain situations as well. You want to be cordial, you want to be friendly, but you don't want to be way too polite where you're giving off an aura where they may think they're invited for a little more. So just make sure when you're communicating with people, you're polite but not over polite. Hope that makes sense. Let's briefly talk about appearance. And this is not about shrinking yourself or not being able to stand out. This is about blending in so you won't stand out in the wrong way. This includes not always wearing the brightest or the most outlandish clothing or jewelry or anything that you notice no one else is wearing around you. Body language is important, your own and others. Pay attention to other people's body language and make sure you're not giving off a certain body language that people can read wrong. And like I said, this is about strategy, not shrinking yourself. We know you bad, but sometimes you gotta tone it down a little bit. So who is solo travel for? Solo travel can be for anyone, honestly. But it's perfect for those who's rebuilding their confidence, who want something different, who want to try something different. First-time travelers that want to explore. People that have this urge to travel but don't have anyone to travel with. People craving independence, that's always around people but want to do something by themselves and just do it alone. Anyone, like I said, anyone waiting on others to live, this is for you. You don't need permission to go. Just do it. So if you've been scared to travel solo, I hope this video gave you a little bit of more confidence. But as I mentioned, I am a travel agent, so if you're feeling overwhelmed in any aspect of planning your trip, you're welcome to hit me up and I'll gladly plan it for you. I do not charge a travel planning fee. I do get my commission through the resorts and hotels that you book through, so it's no cost to you, and I'm happy to help. But thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed and learned a thing or two, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.